Hello friendlies and welcome to the next instalment of the A to Z of Yorkshire, and today we'll be heading to Station C. So without further ado, let's head to Station C.
Once again, good morning and welcome aboard this 10:59 northern departure to York, calling at Burley Park, Headingley, Horsford, Wheaton, Pannell, Hornbeam Park, Harrogate, Sarbeck, Knaresborough, Chapel, Hamilton, Poppleton and scheduled to arrive into York at 11 minutes past 12.
So C is for cattle in North Yorkshire, and it is situated on the Harrogate line in between Harrogate and York. So how did this station first come to exist? Well, let's find out. Cattle Station opened on the 30th of October 1848 by the East and West Yorkshire Junction Railway, but today the line is commonly known as the Harrogate line, running between York and Leeds via Harrogate. And you might be interested in knowing that this station, yes, it has two platforms and it is a twin parallel track running, but that's not entirely the case between Knaresborough and Poppleton, because between here and Hamilton it is basically double track, but between here and Knaresborough and Hamilton to Poppleton is mostly single track. So the tracks between here and the next station, which is Hamilton, are used as a passing loop, therefore allowing a half-hourly service, which is quite interesting. So what else is there here at Cattle? Just going to point this out here, I might pronounce it as Cattle or Cattle. I can't seem to pronounce it right, but just bear with me. So let's find out what there is here at Cattle. I'm just going to go. So, one thing I actually should mention, you might just seen there, is this station actually has a level crossing, which is actually the only bit of step 3 and the only way to get to the other platform. But it is actually, I believe, the only manual crossing on this line. I could be very much wrong, but I think that's what makes it unique. There is a manual crossing, so there is actually a signaller that actually opens and shuts the gates. And you might notice there is actually semaphore signals, which is still quite rare to see, but in North Yorkshire it's very much typical in North Yorkshire. So that gives me another reason why I think the Harrogate line is probably one of the nicest. Plus it goes through Knaresborough and Harrogate, which for some reason everyone loves. So I need to actually explain some other features here at Cattle, because there were some very interesting proposals for electrifying this line, so I'll get to that now. In July 2011, some plans were unveiled to electrify the Harrogate line between York and Leeds, but using a very unfavoured system, which is DC third rail. And you might be asking, why electrify a line with third rail? Well, the simple answer is they were gonna, well, I say they as in the Harrogate Council, I think I'm believing, but if I'm wrong, do let me know. They were gonna acquire some old district line D-stock trains from the London Underground, which were being retired at the time, which were going to then be converted by Viva Rail, which we all know how that went and basically how much they're defunct. to be converted into a third rail train for the fourth rail train, and would be operating on the Harrogate line, which would cause a mismatch of electric power systems in West Yorkshire, which isn't brilliant, but thankfully that plan didn't go ahead because we all know how Beaver Rail turned out in the end. But we did convert some of the District Line D stock, which is the Class 484s, which operates on the Highland line on the Isle of Wight, and the 230s, which I could be very wrong and got that very wrong, which operate on the Bidston line as well. They're the only ones that are in passenger service, but GWR Great Western Railway are trialling some battery fast charge trains which use the same District Line D stock trains, which is very interesting. But I'm going to talk to you about some other plans and more realistic plans to electrify the line between York and Leeds. So I'm going to head up here and explain that. So the more realistic plan to electrify the Harrogate line involves 25 kV AC overhead lines, which are the overhead power lines, which you can clearly see are not here because this is just a plan. Hopefully in the future it does go ahead, and I hope we do redouble track the sections that aren't double tracked already on this line, which could massively improve the frequency on this line, and actually add another electrified line between York and Leeds, because there is actually an electrified line being constructed as we speak between Leeds and York by Crossgates, Garforth and Church Fenton as part of the wider Transpennine route upgrade works connecting and electrifying the lines between York, Leeds and Manchester, give or take no delays. But actually, I might as well say this, about a month ago they actually energised the power lines between Church Fenton and York, which is really good steps to see. So hopefully in the future the Harrogate line does get electric overhead power lines, which would be really great. So that's pretty much it for the interesting facts. So I'm going to talk about the service frequency here at Cattle. So Cattle receives 2 trains now in each direction to Leeds via Harrogate and through to York. It also receives services through the Class 170s and sometimes on the weekends some Class 158s. And it's obviously a 2-platform station. So now it's time for, well, and I'm just going to put the brakes on here for a second, because I've had a little bit of a think about Station Facilities bingo name, because it isn't the best. So from today, it's known as the Station Essentials. But before I get into it, and I should have mentioned this in the last episode, at Station B, and I'll give it away if you haven't watched it, that station was also Northern and this station is too. But from here onwards, there's only, I'm not really going to talk about who owns the station, because I'd probably say about a good 70-80% of all stations in Yorkshire are owned by Northern. There's a few stations that are owned by Northern, so for those stations later in the series I will mention if they're owned by other operators. So as this Class 170 leads heading to York, it's time to explore what essential station facilities there are here at Cattle. So let's go. It has a ticket machine, but the question is, does it actually work? Well, the simple answer, yes, it does work. And there's also some onward travel information and general station information just to the side of the ticket machine as well, with a grip bin and what else have we got? And timetables just there as well. I believe it's the same on the other platform as well. And there's also a passenger information display screen, and there's benches and bike racks on this platform. There's not really much else. Oh, and it has a waiting room with benches, which is really good to see, and there's a payphone in the corner. And it is actually quite nice in here as well, and it's got another view of the platform. You'll never miss your train. So, what else is there here at Cattle? well, I'm going to sit down first, because it's a bit tricky and very tiring visiting every station in, well, not every station in Yorkshire, but I'm just going to have a moment. So Cattle, or Cattle as it's more commonly known, has obviously station signage, benches and a bin. I haven't got a coffee cup this time, but I've got some tissues for the functionality, test for the bins, and it functions. So, and actually I'll admit before I go any further, this is actually a really nice spot. Give or take the construction site, literally right there. But I'm going to have a little wander down the platform because I believe there's actually a really nice shelter. So let's head down there. So the station is step 3 with ramps to both platforms, and platform interchange is via the level crossing. It also has, well, semaphore signals, but that's not part of it, but just want to mention, they're really cool. It has more information boards on this platform as well, with bins and station lighting. It has a really weird bike change up here for some reason, but I don't know. What else does it have? It's got a shelter over there, but before going to the shelter, I'm just going to go quickly and mention it does have a car park, but I wouldn't count it because it's for the pub, but it does also have on-street parking here too. So I'm going to head into the shelter and explain the shelter because I've got something interesting I want to talk about with this shelter here. Future me here again, and I should have mentioned this in the first 2 stations as well, but I'm also going to mention it here. Technically, even though I did mention that they don't have a help point, well, I've only just realised that the actual ticket machines actually have a help and assistance button in the bottom right hand corner. So technically it does have a help point. Back to past me again. So it does have a shelter with actual nice comfortable benches and perch benches, but one thing I'd like to mention about these waiting rooms, and typically they seem to be more commonly in West Yorkshire as well. There's several stations that have these shelters, and they have this really cool like passenger information screen with like the next train, the clock, and the next services. I actually really like these shelters, preferably because they're better looking, they don't look cheap. I know this might sound random, but potentially these are my favourite shelters. Possibly in the country, but we're not talking about shelters, but it does have them as well. Don't know if I mentioned it already, but it does have station lighting as well. Don't know if I mentioned that, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. So I think that's really it for the Station Essentials Bingo, as it's now called. If you do have a better name for this segment, do let me know, because I'm struggling. But if there's anything else you want to see, or any stations in Yorkshire that you might be interested in seeing on the Z of Yorkshire, as long as it's part of the alphabet, then do leave a comment below, and why not, while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to head up the platform and conclude this video at Station C for Cattle. So that is it for Station C here at Cattle. I've explored pretty much everything there is here. If there's anything I've missed here at Cattle, do let me know, because I might miss some stuff. But until the next episode and to the next station, which is Station D, I will see you next time. So see ya.